journey with this Porsche 928 did not at all start well. The paintwork wasn't immaculate to begin with, but to add insult to injury, the car was delivered damaged and wedged under the car in front of it in the enclosed trailer. I've had that repaired, but I'm hoping that we can go further and get the whole car looking a lot more presentable. That's what this video is all about. Let's see what the experts think. Welcome back to the channel and back to the 928, and we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. In the last video we looked at the manual gearbox on Cyril's car, and I really want a manual gearbox now, but I'm still thinking about that. You're laughing because you knew I was going to feel like that, and everybody knew I was going to feel like that. But today it's all about the paintwork. Now remember, I spent 12 grand on this car, so do I want to go to the trouble of a full respray, and do in fact I even need it? Well, two complete strangers emailed me the other day.
That's us.
That'll be you. This is Shawn and this is Doug from Precise Detailers from New Hampshire. And they've driven down here this morning very early to give me the benefit of their expertise and their advice on this paintwork. So the aim of this video is to see what can you do with detailing. A full respray, what's that going to cost? I don't know. Down here could easily be 20 grand, honestly. Do I need to do that for a car that doesn't necessarily need to be 100-point restored? So let's talk about that. Shawn, Doug, welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
To see us. Tell us a little bit about your business.
So Doug and I have started the company about 3.5 years ago. Both were hobbyist detailers, doing our own cars.
Yeah.
I started to get a little more serious about it. I actually went to Esoteric out in Ohio and trained with Todd and his guys.
Okay.
Did their advanced detailer course, and that sort of got me on the right path. I sort of thought I knew what I was doing, and then I went there and realized I didn't.
Yeah.
And they, have been just fantastic. I still interact with them on a pretty regular basis when I have, a customer's car that's particularly challenging, or I did a Ferrari that had solvent pop on the hood and I had no idea what it was. Oh. They walked me through what that was.
I still
don't. It's basically Ferrari and mostly Italian cars aren't known for great paint jobs, even when they're brand new. Yeah. And this Ferrari was older, and it had what they call solvent pop, which is basically as the clear coat wears down over time, and then through, if someone had machine polished the car before, it eventually allows just enough for that solvent to sort of pop up through the paint, and it looked like bubbles, little tiny bubbles all over the hood. And I had never encountered that before, so they walked me through it and told me what to do, and there was no fixing it. It needs to be resprayed, but I was concerned as to what was going to happen if I tried to work with it.
We made it look better, though.
Yeah, a million times
good.
better.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the aim, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And Shawn is the former owner of a 996 as well.
Yes, that's how I found you.
Exactly. And we're very grateful to have you here. You look after the whole of New Hampshire, do you? What kind of area
New Hampshire and northern Mass.
Okay.
We're very small. It's just Doug and I. So we basically do project cars like this, and we'll take it in on a Sunday and get it back to the customer the following Saturday. So that's all we do.
Okay.
We don't do, 5 cars in a week or 6 cars in a week. A busy week for us is maybe 2 cars. But by design, we want to take the time and spend the time to really go through every inch of the car and do it right and not be in a rush.
Perfect. That's
it's not the greatest thing for a profitable business, but
you get a good result and the customers are happy.
Yeah, someday.
It's not a volume thing for us. It's an obsession thing.
A nerdy thing. I love that. I love that, yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for subscribing as well. I should have mentioned that these guys are subscribers before they ever came here. Let's have a wander around the car then and get your expertise, and I'll get you guys in close. All right, guys, let's start at the front end, shall we? Maybe we'll do the side first.
Yeah, so this fender appears to be the original paint, which I'm very excited for. I think we can make a huge difference in terms of the glossiness, the brightness of the paint, just through compounding and polishing. And then we use kamikaze ceramic coatings. There's a base coat called Miyabi, and then a top coat called ISM.
Okay.
And it will just look like candy. Has a very glossy, just an amazing
thick enough,
finish.
Do you think the paint
Is it?
The paint is still thick enough
Oh
to do
yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of
I
thing?
have my handy dandy paint meter. So your fender's at 8.8.
Okay, that's pretty good, is it? I
Yeah,
have no
like
idea what I'm
I
talking
did
about, as you can probably tell.
a newer car. It was a 21 Macan S, and that was about 4.8 to 5.5.
Okay.
So this is
Plenty
plenty.
left to
Yeah,
have a go at, yeah.
absolutely.
Older cars tend to have thicker paint and clear because the spray technology wasn't as good
Yeah.
when it was
Okay.
painted originally. Whereas
So they just
now
layered it on thick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can atomize it better now, so they tend to be thinner.
And which brings us to your hood that you have had work to. Resprays are great for detailers because it's just a body shop. It's not a robot that's spraying it like at the factory. So they lay it on super thick. So that was 8.8. The front of the hood is 18.2 to give you an idea. So we have a ton of material to work with. And more importantly, in this scenario, it's really about the clear. How much clear is there? Because you're not getting down to the paint.
Yeah.
You're basically correcting and clearing up the clear.
Yeah.
So knowing that, we have plenty of material to work with.
Okay, all right. So it gets more problematic as we go back.
Yeah. So we were talking off camera, and this is obviously Jay's problem area. And what I think for that is, whoever did this didn't really...
Should be shot.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Didn't really fill in. You can still see the original paint, and then the touch-up paint is lower than the original paint.
Yeah.
My thought process is we'll get Dr. Color Chip, fill that in, sort of, for lack of a better way to describe it, I think we sort of mound it up so that the touch-up is higher than the original paint, then lightly wet sand it, compound it, polish it, and get it back level. At least it's always going to look like a touch-up. Yeah. We're not a body shop, not going to pretend that we are, but it's going to look significantly better than that.
Smooth out the level.
It looks like somebody's done it with somebody's making a plastic model plane. They've got a spare brush left over and a bit of paint, and they've gone at it.
Yeah, me personally have touched up my cars since I've had a car. I've always went to the local auto parts store and bought the little container, and and it was awful. And then sort of Dr. Color Chip kind of changes the way you think about it with the tools that they give you, and they have a squeegee to sort of level off the paint. And,
oh, wow.
It's very interesting, and that's a great product, and it sort of has taught us how to properly touch up. It's always a touch-up.
Yeah.
You, the owner, are always going to know it's there. You just want the people at the local Cars and Coffee to not necessarily be drawn to it.
And I tell you, it just helps me to know that it can be made a little bit better.
Oh, I think it could be made a lot better.
One of the beauties about this car, is that I can park it almost anywhere because it doesn't really matter. But it would be nice if it was just a little bit better than it currently is.
I think we can make
it a
it
bit more presentable.
Significantly better, I'll be honest, in terms of the glossiness and the shine of the paint. Some of the body work that was done on the hood, I think we can smooth that out a little bit.
Let's have a look at the roof.
The
roof.
Yeah, you got some scratching, but a lot of that is going to clear up. It's basically can you feel your fingernail in that scratch? And some you can, some you can't. But if you come from this angle, Jay, you're probably on a similar angle. You can see all of this. I would guess that 75% of that will clear up.
Wow. Which is good enough.
Too about polishing is it'll remove some of the white appearance of the scratch. So even though the blemish may still be there, you won't see it as much because
it'll reflect nicely, more
nicely.
nicely.
If you have a scratch, it's like a sharp cornered V, right? So if you think of like the clear coat, it's not a flat surface, and what we're trying to do is round off the edges of the scratch so it's less visible, because then the light won't catch it as much, and it will draw your eye to it.
All right, it gets worse as we go back. We're looking at things like this, and there's a little bit of rust popping through.
I don't know that I would touch this. It hasn't popped through. I think maybe we, again, I take a razor and sort of cut this high edge off.
Yeah.
And then, depending on what's exposed, do a little rust preventer and then do a little touch up on top of that. But again, you know, that's sort of a weird crease in the car, and I feel like your eye's going to be drawn to it. So we need to be pretty
Subtle.
careful
Yeah.
how we do that so that it doesn't
Yeah.
make it look more obvious.
The rear panel's not too bad, actually.
No,
It's not too bad. I mean, some of
No.
it might come up. Oh, what's that?
I think, you know, some touch ups
of-
here and like that almost looks like someone tried to wet sand it, doesn't it? Or is that just like rub where they rubbed something?
Yeah, and that could just be like someone hit the side of the garage or something.
Yeah.
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 And then
That'll
like,
probably go away with.
you know, a little touch up here, and you just
Yeah.
That's probably part of this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thing looks
Or one event there, yeah. Right, then we get to the true horror end.
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
car.
no level of
you
you
can
know
polish this out, right?
esoteric, and Todd's
Camera's on
amazing.
you, Shawn.
Yeah,
You can-
I don't think
you polish that out
that's
easy,
beyond
right?
help. Yeah, that just needs a respray.
Just get a rattle can. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, rattle can, perfect. Yeah, get that really thick stuff.
I'll
that,
tell
know,
you,
put on out
my
external
own
metal.
experience with I have an E24, and I have the factory
That's a
M6.
BMW, right?
Yeah, a 635 CSI, and I have the M6 spoiler, which is this same rubber material. When this is coated, it will look.
Oh, that's
Fa-
what I want
just
to hear. I've been coating it
fantastic.
with something, but it's come up a little bit, but it's
These
not
will look
great.
amazing.
It'll be life changing on this.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes.
Life changing. I like the sound of life changing.
Now it's a dull gray.
Everything is life changing for Douglas, but it will be life changing.
So probably what we're saying then with this back panel here is a respray, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you do the respray, we do the full correction, do the coatings, and with that resprayed, I think this car is just I think the wheels the same thing. I think we can get a lot of life out of those wheels.
Yeah. I
Just-
quite like these wheels.
Yeah,
Actually.
I do too.
Manhole covers. And we've got a bit of crap here as well.
Yeah,
Same as the other side.
yeah, like
really.
this.
Yeah.
You know, that's
And it's had, you can see it's got a blow, it's had some work done here. Because the paint, you can see a line there, look, can't
Yeah.
you?
someone did a little.
That looks like a touch up.
It's different paint here to here, isn't it?
Yeah, that does.
Well,
I
you know,
wonder,
there's.
what do you think? If we had this back panel done, do you think there's anything I could do here to blow it in a bit nicer?
I
Maybe.
would polish it first,
Yeah.
and then see how you feel about the results before we coat it,
Okay.
and then say, yeah, I can live with that, or no, I'd like to have that resprayed.
That might have been sprayed because it feels like a different.
I feel like this is used car dealers. The gentleman we were talking off camera, my friend Jim owns a used car dealer, and he was telling me all of, you know, I've known him for years, and he's told me all the tricks of the trade. And they would have guys come in at big dealerships and spray bumpers in the parking lot with, you know, that airbrush thing.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what that looks like.
Cheap and nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of it, I mean, this door.
I think the car is amazing. I think we can
oh,
do
God,
a,
that's nice
a
of you to say.
tremendous.
I'm not sure that's true.
No, I'm being honest. I think we've sort of fallen into specializing in Porsche to a certain extent. We've probably done 25 or so Porsches of 996, 997,
yeah. You think
Macans,
it's got potential?
Cayennes. I think it has a tremendous amount of potential.
Yeah. Wow.
I honestly do.
The brightness of the
Yeah.
paint. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
can enhance the brightness a
You know,
significant amount.
You were very clear in that video where you said what's next for the car.
Yeah.
That you weren't looking for concours.
No, I'm not. No.
And I think-
I wouldn't be able to drive it anywhere. I like.
Yeah.
See, my aim is to have a car and drive the arse off it. Take it down with my
Yeah.
friends down to Florida or North Carolina. Have a lot of fun with it and
Yeah.
not worry about it too much, you know. But you also don't want to be driving an old jalopy, crappy old car.
And I think that's the sweet spot that
Yeah.
we can bring you to.
drive a good
Where
driver
you
quality.
feel very, very proud of the car. And, an average person will walk by it and go, holy crap, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
a 1987?
85.
85,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm thinking of my own car.
Yeah.
And they'll,
Which, by the way, we should do a video on.
I would love to.
635
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yes.
BMW against.
Maybe when
I
your
remember the
car,
day you pulled in.
yeah, maybe your car is in New Hampshire, that for,
Maybe we do that.
for the correction, and the 635 will have to make a guest appearance.
We've just come up with a new idea.
But I think we can bring this up to a level where you're really proud of the way it looks, and protect it. To me, the beauty of the ceramic coatings is you do all this work in compounding and polishing and really getting the paint as close to perfect as you can. And then people say, oh, just put wax on it. Well,
Yeah.
I was one of those guys,
Yeah.
was not a huge ceramic coating.
The
and
game
then,
has moved on since then, hasn't it, really?
yeah, I mean, just
That's what my dad would have said.
the kamikaze coatings are just, they're second to none in my opinion.
it'll last.
They will last.
Yeah.
The protection that it provides the paint, the ease of cleaning.
Yeah.
You know, you got a bit of a dirt driveway, so you're going to be washing the car on a regular basis. It really is, as Doug likes to say, it's life-changing.
Very cool.
You can dry the car with a blower.
With a leaf blower,
The water just
jumps off.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. I feel actually quite enthused and positive about this based on what you've said.
I
because
think you should.
and I'm going to show you in a minute Shawn's Land Cruiser, which is parked just behind the camera, where they said the paint was actually worse than this. And they've just driven down from New Hampshire, so it's not spotlessly clean, but you can see a really good result there. But I feel that this has maybe got some redemption
I
in
think it does.
and that we can get it to a standard where I don't want a concours car because I'd never take it anywhere. It's like my MG that's parked just here. That was my dad's. It's very special to me. I don't drive it very much as a result, which is ridiculous. This one, I leave it at the railroad station and we drive it. My son and I just go, yeah, let's drive the crap out of this. This is great. And that's the kind of, so I from what you've said, it sounds like we can get to
I think we can
a standard where I can still use it,
hit
but
your
it's going to look
spot.
really much nicer.
Yeah.
And some of the trim you said would come up
Yep.
really,
All
really
of this
well.
will come up.
Yeah.
I think we can get it from a 50-foot car to a 10-foot car.
That's great.
You know what I mean?
That's great. Yeah, I mean, this bit here that we talked about, you're never going to get that perfect because I can feel the ridges in it and it needs a respray.
No, it's
honestly.
never going to be perfect,
Yeah.
but it's going to be better.
Yeah.
And that's the aim, is to make this
Yeah.
so that you're more excited about it and
Yeah.
not sort of offering excuses as to why it looks the
Yeah.
way it looks. Someone says, "Oh, I really like your car," and the first words out of your mouth, in my case, I would always be like, "Well, I'm working on it. I'm going to get it better."
Yeah,
and-
making excuses
yeah,
for your own
it's
car.
like,
Yeah.
What am I doing? Why
So
am
when
I
I
doing
sell
that?
this to get a manual car, then
No, I
then somebody
think
will
you gotta
I'll
do
get
the
more
manual
value out of it.
Manual swap it.
Oh, you think?
You're already here. You're already in it. You've already done, I've watched all the videos. You've already done a tremendous amount of mechanical work.
Yeah.
My 635 is, the market on those is a really nice one is maybe 20 grand.
Yeah.
I won't
too
say
far.
on camera because my wife will see this and she'll
You didn't pay anything like that.
she'll
did
stab
you?
me. No,
nothing like that. No.
I have a book of receipts.
Yeah.
But it becomes your car.
It's horrifying.
And you know
I do love it
what's
as
been
well.
done. Yeah, you
It's
know
such
what's
a-
been done. You don't,
Yeah.
if you did most of the cooling system, so
Yeah.
you're not worried about the
Yeah.
cooling system. It's
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
it's checked off.
Mechanically done, yeah.
Yeah. So I if it were me, and I'm not that bright because when I show you the stack of receipts for the BMW,
Well, similar.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see where we go with this. Thank you, Shawn and Doug, for coming down.
Thank
all
you
the
for
way
having
from
us.
New Hampshire. Precise Details, New Hampshire. Look out for those guys. I've got even more to think about now. So you've poisoned my mind with the great work that you're going to do. Cyril with his manual gearbox. It's like, my God, my head is going to explode. But I think this sounds really, really positive. So stay tuned, subscribe to see where this journey goes. I think we've got a long way to go yet with this particular car. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.